the Flask here, these are some beta features that they have, which is like feedback and TweetStorm. Feedback is fantastic. I have mine turned on, and that will actually simulate a reader. So this is a little bit of a mess. It's a little bit disconjointed, but if I wanted to simulate readers, I just do my more option here, and these are where some of the newer newer options are, newer features are. And I just click feedback, and it will simulate readers reading the AI. Yes, Mike.
Sorry, my question didn't have anything to do with this, so I didn't want to cut you off. But you did mention a feature that could kind of summarize or condense down large. I mean, I don't know how large, but I mean,
as large as you put in there. Like I have run people have run 90,000 word manuscripts through it.
Okay.
Yeah. But that eats 90,000 words.
Okay.
So it's you got to be mindful of that.
Okay.
So I can actually show you what I did that with one of my manuscripts, so you can see what it produced. I'll go to that card in just a second here. So feedback, it does a reader. Also, it always compliments you just in case you need an ego boost. It does an Oreo thing. It's like praise, fix, praise again, or whatever. So I particularly like the idea of the protagonist's invention revolutionizing grocery shopping. The idea is both imaginative and timely, as the world is going through a period of rapid technological advancement. I also like the description of the laboratory, the sound of something crashing from the work table, the big yellow eyes of the cat. So it read what it wrote. It's the AI judging the AI. It's a little meta, I'm not gonna lie.
Can I put it on the back of my book as a review? Sudowrite says.
My co-writer says.
Yeah.
Now here's what's interesting. When I'm working with Sudowrite on my actual drafts, because tonight we're playing, we're working fast. This is fast and loose. But when I'm serious about this and I'm trying to make stuff that's publishable and go out to readers, sometimes when I'm working for my outline, I had something on my outline and I thought I put it in, but the robot reader will say, hey, I didn't understand this character's emotional arc. Like I didn't understand this character's emotional motivation. I'm like, what? I put that in. I go reread the scene. No, I didn't. I skipped that part. Like there was coffee or smudge or something. So I had to go put that back in. So it can actually give you some information that like a developmental editor would pick up, but you still have to be a human with it. You have to read it and go, is this valid or is this not valid? You have to validate it. So right here it says, you could consider developing the characters of the protagonist and the chiropractor a bit further. What is their backstory? How long have they known each other? What are their motivations? I mean, that's fair. I just threw these characters in the scene. The reader doesn't know any of that. Provide some sort of resolution for the story. It currently seems that the protagonist is doomed and there's no way out, but you could consider how the protagonist might be able to escape from the situation and what the repercussions of the incident might be. So it also tells you how to finish your story, or it complains rather about you doing that. It'll ask for more details, but it will be specific to the story. You'll see like the relationship between the protagonist and the chiropractor. We need to know more about the history between these two characters and why the chiropractor is so invested in the protagonist's invention. And it wants the motivation of the chiropractor. I mean, these readers are no joke, even though they're fake. They still want a good story.
So I take it this counts against your word count too?
It does. It does.
Okay.
Anything that you generate over here. Yep. And it'll generate 3 cards. Each card is roughly, let's see here, word counter plus 341. So it's probably about 750 to 1,000 words that it's going to be eating up with your having. And the feedback option, I believe, can read up to 10,000 words. I'm not.
Wow.
It can read quite a bit. So, but shrink ray, you want to see shrink ray. Let me try to remember.
I used that once. It's amazing.
It is amazing. Okay,
it
so
really
this
was.
Is shrink ray. What on earth is going on? There we go. Okay, so this is my current manuscript that I'm working on. It's 31,684 words. All the information in this document is actually broken up upon this document. And so you can see I've got chapter summaries, I've got scraps from the playground, things that I might use later on, that kind of thing.
So you do it all in here. You don't just take a piece and then put it in Scrivener and take a piece, and you doing it all in here.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay,
Now,
cool.
I will tell you that I copy and paste things into For the Words because I like to fight my monsters.
Yeah.
The manuscript here. So I also do put it into Google Docs as well because I do keep copies of my manuscripts on my Google Drive and then back. So shrink ray will go logline 2, which you could use as a little synopsis, a summary. Oh, this was for the chapter summaries that I was doing. Oh dear, Elizabeth, you are just losing your mind. I'm just clicking all over here. So to get to your shrink ray generation on something, because I know I already did this in this one, it's already here at the bottom. So it took almost 32,000 words. It gives me a whole log line. It gives me a blurb. When Lady Catherine de Bourgh passes away, Anne Fitzwilliam is named the primary heir in her will, but George Wickham is also listed as a half sibling with the potential to inherit if Anne is an yeah. See, Missy's like, what? That's some drama. Yeah, this is
Yeah,
the story.
good one. Good job.
As the Darcys, the Bennets, and other members of the community attempt to reconcile their own feelings of grief and guilt, Fitzwilliam Darcy negotiates a peaceful solution between a laborer and the Earl of Derby over a disputed piece of land. Meanwhile, Kitty Bennet prepares for the Yuletide ball with Lydia, Mary Jane, and Lady Bromington, and Elizabeth Sweet, and Viscount Bromington attempts to get her painted. It should be get himself painted, but it's not perfect. It's doing its best. In this intricate story of loss and negotiation, follows the Darcys. It's not finished, obviously. So this is why you're like, that's not a story. What happened to the will? Well, that's Act 3, which I haven't written yet. And then it'll do a synopsis. Now, this is really cool. This is an outline. Now, you're probably wondering, like, how does it know 1, 2, 3, 4, and all of these things? So when you write, because I've been using Sudowrite for a while. Let me see here. All the way up here. Oh, I just passed one. I put a hashtag in between my chapters. And I just put hashtag chapter 13, and that helps signal for Sudowrite that it's a new scene, which will help with shrink ray.
Sudowrite respects that.
It
They
does.
understands. Okay.
It understands that there's a hashtag. And I seem to have lost my chat again. Well, I definitely want to thank everyone for coming tonight. I'm so sorry.
Elizabeth, you did a great job. Really helpful.
Oh,
Agreed.
good.
Absolutely.
Okay. Is there anything else? I'll go ahead and stop the share. Does anyone have any other questions? I'm going to just let my dog out really fast so she stops. Like losing her mind. Okay.
Is it helpful to have your whole manuscript inside of Sudowrite?
It depends on what you're trying to do. So for example, if you're doing your shrink ray, you definitely need your whole manuscript in there if you're trying to shrink it down to an outline, which can be helpful if you have books that you've written in a series and maybe you're on book 2 or 3 and you're like, I wish I took better notes when I wrote book 1. I've been in that camp before. So you'll want to put your whole document in there. I also just like my whole document in there because honestly, I make documents that are like notes for myself. I think that they're working on some features to make our organization of how we're writing stories even better. They're working on a lot of cool tools behind the scenes, and we get new stuff all the time. So it's up to you if you want to put your manuscript in there, but copying and pasting words into Sudowrite do not go against your word count for the month or anything like that.
Are you ever looking for beta testers?
So we all are beta testers in a way, like,
Oh, okay.
So join the Slack. And what'll happen is, like, for example, yesterday, James, who's one of the co-founders, posted, hey, we have a new feature. If you're interested in testing it, let me know here, DM me, and I'll email you. And so that got me access to a new feature that they're working on, for example. So if you monitor the Slack, you can absolutely ask, and they will let you beta test different features and give feedback. Yes, Missy.
Does it start learning your writing style?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. I think that's
not that I need to be emulated at this point. I'm just saying.
No,
eventually.
But so I blog my chapters on my website.
Mm-hmm.
The AI algorithms learned on everything that was on the internet prior to like 2019 for the most part, big chunks of it. Yeah, not everything on the internet, but big chunks of it. Anything that it could read and get access to. So I actually have had success with rewrite to be more in the style of Elizabeth Ann West. And it seems to change it to my writing style. It's closer to my voice if I use the rewrite function to be in the style of my own voice. Now, obviously, use that feature ethically, but
yeah.
also ask it to rewrite in the name of any public domain author. A really funny exercise is put some terms and conditions in there and ask it to rewrite it in the style of H.G. Wells. Or no, I'm sorry, not H.G. Wells, the Cthulhu guy.
H.P. Lovecraft.
H.P. Lovecraft, sorry, wrong. My brain short-circuited there for a second. H.P. Lovecraft. Terms and conditions in the style of H.P. Lovecraft. You know, let's do it. Let's end on a funny note, shall we? So let me grab some generic
Style of the King James Bible.
terms. Oh, there's a peanut butter. There's remove a peanut butter sandwich from a VCR.
Yes, it's hilarious.
Okay, so I am going to grab some terms and conditions. Sure, we'll get terms. No, that's like a generate. I just wanted a list of free terms. Can I just get some terms and conditions templates? There we go. I just want an example. Sure, we'll just grab this. We're just going to grab this little bit here. It's some legalese, because we don't want a lot of it there. Okay, abusive users. Terms and conditions agreements allow you to establish what constitutes appropriate activity on your site or app. This is 89 words. We're going to highlight it. We're going to rewrite it. Rewrite to be more in the style of H.P. Lovecraft. Go. Okay. Terms and condition agreements serve as a bulwark against the malicious, protecting one's creative domain from the maddening hordes of copyright infringers. For only when one has established their rights to all intellectual property are they safe from the vileness of those who would seek to compromise their sovereignty. And should a court challenge arise, the power of one's terms and conditions will offer an auspicious defense, shielding the business from potential litigation.
So much better.
Yes. If that doesn't scare anyone off, I don't know what will.
I have a question on, I know that the words do not roll over from month to month, but we can purchase additional packs.
Mhm.
And those do roll over, but do they just roll over 1 month, or are they roll over until they're used?
I believe they roll over until they're used.
Okay,
But
good.
I want to say that there is some information on the Slack, but I know that they don't just last 1 month. They do continue to roll over until they're used.
Okay.
Yeah, they roll over until they're used. It's answering in the chat, and
Great.
this is his baby, so he would know.
Okay.
Yep. Any other questions?
Is there a strategy that you like to use when you're first starting? Like
Oh,
you showed
boy.
us a lot of features,
Yep.
and you come to Sudo with an idea. What do you like to start with? I mean, obviously, well, everyone finds their own way, but you've been using it so much. How did these features come into play for you?
So I'm a plotter, and I will be honest with you that some of these features didn't exist when I first started using Sudowrite. As a matter of fact, Write was just wormhole. You didn't really have many options, but now we have all these wonderful options. So it depends on what your writing style is. So somebody who's a pantser, my style is not going to probably work for you. But like Neil Gaiman, I like to sit when I'm brainstorming a story. I start off with a fountain pen, actually. So like I have one right here, and a composition notebook or a notebook. And I'm usually away from my computer. And what I'm doing is I'm just free writing every piece of information I can think about the story. Usually I start with a single premise. Like in one case, you saw one of my pieces. What if Anne wasn't going to be the only person to inherit Rosings? And actually that's a whole series. And it starts off with what if Mr. Darcy never saved Georgiana from Mr. Wickham? That's the start of the series. And then Wickham's a half brother. It's the whole thing. Another fountain pen user, yeah. So basically come up with everything that I can. And then I work to try to put together a coherent outline of some sort. And then I usually start writing the scene, and I use guided write a lot to like fill it in, or sometimes I'll use the write function. First draft is brand new. So since the last time I finished a book, first draft has come onto the scene. Now I use first draft more, because once I have like a scene, I'll kind of vomit down all the details of the scene, pieces of dialogue that I know need to be said. And it's kind of this disjointed thing. And I stick it in first draft and I see what it can do. And that usually gets me started about 500 to 1,000 words. And now I feel more confident to go in there and start playing and moving things around and changing this, and that's wrong. And his eyes aren't blue, they're green, you know, those kinds of things. The AI is limited in how much narrative logic it can remember. Excuse me. Does that help answer your question?
Yes, that's great. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Quick question for me,
Yes,
Elizabeth. I think it's mostly for maybe for Amit. Is there any possibility that we can now use the Sudowrite on mobile phones? I know that right now it's very hard for us to use it.
Not yet, but that's one of the features that you can vote up. It's in the Amit posted in the chat there that you can vote that up. It's one of the features that's trying to be voted up. So I think it's on the horizon. I think sometimes some people write really well on their phones. I do use my phone a lot of times, so that's actually helpful because of my dictating roots. If I have an idea for a scene, I'll dictate the little bits that I can, and then when I get home, I can copy and paste that into first draft or something like that.
So, where will this recording be found?
That is a good question. I'm not entirely sure yet, but I know that they will find a way to use it and to get it out to people who want it for sure. We are not going to waste this recording.
Good. Just more.
We can do more of the button options. We have a little bit more time here.
Yeah, the brainstorming. I would love to know about the twists and the characters and the dialogue, how that could be.
Sure. Okay, so I just didn't want to break anyone's brain. So brainstorm, we did touch on a little bit when we were brainstorming the vegetable. So it is on the recording, but I'll go to a new, let's go back to the laboratory because we'll use those for these. So for brainstorm, let's say I wanted to brainstorm names for the inventor or the dialogue. You want to brainstorm pieces of dialogue?
Dialogue, yeah, dialogue.
Okay. So I will be honest, I don't always use this feature for dialogue. I usually use rewrite and say add more dialogue or write a dialogue draft, but you can use the brainstorm for things. So this one was like believable lines of dialogue for the beginning of a passionate love scene. We could do that one, or we have not touched on romance, so let's go ahead and do that. Two characters are co-workers who have worked together for a long time, but were ashamed to admit that they were attracted to each other. I don't think let's get this over with would actually be one. Not a good idea. Will you just kiss me already? That's a good one after a long thing. I've been waiting for this so long. Sure. So now we'll click start. We don't have to hide our feelings anymore. I like it. I can't take it anymore. I need you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'm so glad you finally feel the same way. Yes, that's a good one. So we'll use that. I don't have to be scared, do I? I don't really think that one's great for this one. So I would just thumb that down. I'm like, nope, I don't want that.
Or that could be a mafia romance.
Oh, absolutely. That's a good one. That's a good one. Would you do?
Do it. Don't do it.
I probably feel safe now. No mafia romance, right?
It'll be your next book.
Oh, you do not know the number. Sudowrite. I'm glad Sudowrite does not learn from my words at the moment, because I've been teaching so many people how to use Sudowrite since I've been using it, that Sudowrite thinks I write 100 different genres if it was to look at what I write. So that's a little bit about brainstorm. Did that help you for Stephanie for the brainstorm one?
So I guess what I heard you say is that rewrite is actually better for dialogue than brainstorm.
Well, because rewrite can look at it in context. So and brainstorm can't. Brainstorm just kind of brainstorms for you. So let's come down here to where we have some dialogue. Let's go to the Vatican thriller. We'll come back here. Or we'll just create something really fast, I guess. Let's go with, we'll do the romance premise of two coworkers. Remember, do, what, how. So do is right. The what is a romantic scene. And then how, between two coworkers who finally realize they both secretly oh my gosh, spell tonight, Elizabeth, secretly had crushes on each other and profess, oh my goodness, profess their love. They should kiss at the end of the, maybe not at the end. We won't limit the junior writer. They should kiss in the scene. Okay. So, sound good?
Yeah.
And we'll click go. Now, obviously, if they're doing a bunch of snogging, there may not be a lot of talking, but the office had been empty for hours. It was late and the night shift was long gone. It was just them, two coworkers alone in the building. James had been in love with Maria for months, though he was sure she had no idea. So you can see how this information here, we'll let it keep going. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we're going to fix this dialogue. And it's going.
Now, it's like you're describing my workday right there. What the?
Okay. So come right up here, and we have this right here for, though she had no idea, he tried to keep his feelings hidden, but tonight I want more dialogue in here. So okay. I'm going to highlight this, and I'm going to click rewrite.
Right.
And I'm going to say customize, rewrite.
Oh, that's good.
Add more dialogue that is mundane and just meant for James to break the ice.
Yay.
Okay. Now, keyword about when you tell it to rewrite with add more dialogue. If there are no characters in the part that you highlight, it will not invent characters usually to do that. It will be very confused.
Okay.
If you have one character in the scene and you add to add more dialogue, it will have the character talk to themselves.
Okay.
So it will add more dialogue, or it will try. So I did make my prompt a little bit long. I'm going to actually ask them to make this box a little bit bigger or something, maybe so I can read it all, because it can do a little bit of a long prompt. So to add more dialogue that is mundane, meant for James to break the ice, and I will click go. The customized rewrite function is one of my favorite functions in Sudowrite. All right. Oh, perfect. Look at that. The office had been empty for hours. It was late and the night shift was long gone. It was just them, two coworkers alone in the building. James nervously cleared his throat. Long day, huh? Do you see, it took in the context of that they're at the office. And so it created dialogue that makes sense for that setting. So, and then it said he'd been in love. That's the only thing that it added. So it only puts like the purple when it's added. So that saves you time if you're trying to
now what
quickly.
Now, what if you wanted, I know some folks who would say nervously cleared his throat is, can you, instead of you saying nervously, because it's an adverb, and for my group that hates adverbs, is there a way to take nervously and make it show instead of telling?
Oh, can it? Yes, we can do that. He watched her from across the room. I'm just trying to find out where. I think this is all we need. Okay, so we want show, not tell, right?
Yeah.
So I can highlight this, or you just want that one. Okay, so I'm going to be honest with you. If you were just fixing one little line like that, just fix it. Like faster. I would just say James cleared his throat. That's what I would do. I would just cut that. But let's say I had a ton of that. Let's do that. The office had been empty for, oh my gosh, it was late and the night shift was long gone. As soon as you say I have to add in adjectives, I can't do it. It was
two
just
co-workers hurriedly left the building.
Alone in the building. Lonely and despondent. I don't know. He'd been in love with Maria for months. He'd smartly made his, it's hard to write adverbs when you don't all the time. He fervently tried to keep his, so we've added some adverbs, right? We've made Stephen King mad. So I'm going to highlight that again. And this is, and you guys are quick. These are all like these super advanced functions that I'm doing for some of the advanced people later this week, that it's like, this is really cool. These are all things that we've been doing in the Slack. So rewrite can also be a very powerful editor. So we're going to do rewrite to remove adverbs.
Okay.
Do not add to the story.
Yay. All right.
And I like this editing feature as well, because I don't know how many of you use another editing piece like Grammarly or AutoCrit or any of those other
Yeah.
ones.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I do too. And you know what? I'm a lazy editor because I hate that it'll say you have too many adverbs, but then it leaves it up to me to figure out which ones go and which ones stay. So Sudowrite is a lot easier for an editor because I can treat it like an editor and say, hey, Sudowrite, can you just edit this passage for me and make my verb stronger, or show don't tell, or in this case, remove adverbs that do not add to the story.
Okay, and I like, so they said James coughed. It's been a day. It's been a day. So now, but you said that in using that feature, it works against your word count. So,
Yes.
yeah.
So, again, I use the bigger. I was using a bigger pack, the biggest package. I mean, I probably should have talked about the pricing at the beginning. I apologize about that. But we can take a look at that, because that's an important point, because we're all trying to write and be professionals here. The hard part for that is I'm going to need to sign out real fast, and I'll do that. And then I can go back to Sudowrite.com. Because I've been an author a long time, and I think that the pricing on Sudowrite, truthfully, is one of the best deals out there. So this is the pricing structure right now. And I have it on yearly, but let's go to monthly, because we don't know if we want to go month to month. We're trying out Sudowrite. For $20, you can get 30,000 AI words. And those are good words. Like, you could get a good novella going plus room to edit. The most popular one is that middle one, and that's the professional level. That's $29 a month. It's $1 a day. And that gets you 90,000 words. And that's definitely enough to write an entire novel. Maybe not in all genres. I know science fiction and epic fantasy, you guys are a little bit bigger. And then 300,000 words is $129 a month. Now, obviously, if you do it yearly, which many of us do, because we like our expenses very easy to just write off one time. I don't want to have to put Sudowrite 12 times on my Schedule C, just once. Then you're only paying $100 a month for 300,000 words. And I think that's less expensive than any co-writer or ghostwriter or anything like that you would ever hire anywhere.
Agreed.
On top of that, you are prompting the words. So the story is going the direction you want it to go in, and it's not plagiarized content because you're watching it generate in that real time and you're making the decisions. And yearly, $20 a month gets you 90,000 words. So I hear what you're saying, Stephanie. And obviously, if you ever get like really weird, unexpected results or anything like that, definitely shoot an email to hi@sudowrite.com with some screenshots and stuff. And the development team, if something happened or something like that, they definitely will make it right. I think it's a very good value, and I've been using the tool since 2021, and I just I can't sing enough praises about Sudowrite, because it's really helped me to finish books when I just really didn't want to write anymore.
Elizabeth,
yes,
you said something a short while ago that I found curious, and I just wanted to clarify. You said Sudowrite, something to the effect that Sudowrite will think you do this. Does it get to know us over time, or is it just a one instance?
No, I'm saying I'm glad it doesn't know what I write, because otherwise it would be very confused. So Sudowrite right now is not currently learning from anything that you put in here, like that. I was making a bad joke, and I apologize for being confusing. I have so many different genres in here. I have everything from Titanic to the Misadventures of a Girl Scout.
I think it would be great if the program does get to know you over time.
I think that when that capability is available and things like that, I think that might be something that would be cool. Given some of the reactions in the author community about how the AI learned in the first place, that might be also a little problematic. So we want to make sure.
No, I gotta get that. Yeah.
So for nonfiction friends, that first one is great for blogs and articles. Yep. The related words feature doesn't use words. Oh, let me show you this. I'm sorry. I got a message. I'm sorry I wasn't able to see the chat. So Stephanie, you were asking about some features that don't use words.
Yes.
Okay, so that's why I say, like, definitely if you can just change the word. But what I was going to show you is that the word cloud. Well, I guess, hold on, he called it something else. Let me see what it is. The related words feature. So this is the related words feature. So if we didn't want nervously, we can highlight nervously, and it starts giving some thesaurus options, right? But Sudowrite doesn't do anything like an ordinary thing. It's not an ordinary thesaurus. So if you click 21 more, all of a sudden you get this really cool like word cloud. I love this animation. and you can
Nice.
decide which one he did. So we'll say he fretfully. And I think I just, yeah, if you just double click it, it puts it in there. It replaces it.
So it will it will replace now will it replace phrases too?
I don't believe so. For that, you're definitely, like if I highlight this, I'm not getting a bunch. For that, you'd have to use a rewrite function or something like that.
Oh, okay.
But like I say, I still think this is a great value for the money as a professional author. I can't think of another tool that helps me. And knowing that every time you make a call to the AI, there's a cost on the back end and the servers and calling the algorithms. I know that there's a cost to that. So that's why I don't mind that I'm paying by the word. And it's fractions of a penny per word, by the way, if you do the math. But we're authors. We're not going to do math tonight, right?
You said I'm sorry, you said you can contact someone if you're having issues. Is that what you were saying?
Or if you do get unexpected results,
Uh-huh.
you want to if you can take screenshots, that's really helpful.
Oh, okay.
And you can always email hi@sudowrite.com.
Okay.
Or there's also the report a bug or contact us. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, everyone. I hope you all have a great night. Definitely join the Slack community. I'm at Elizabeth Ann West there. Feel free to bombard me. I will answer you. I promise. If I don't answer you, somebody else will answer you before I get to it. I've got some other friends in there and sometimes they jump on it. So it's fantastic.
Thank you.
Great job,
Thank
Elizabeth.
you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Mhm.